Welcome to The Blissful Life, a podcast where we awaken the wisdom of self and explore the lessons, the rituals, and the pathways to inner bliss. I'm your host, Regina Lawless, former corporate executive turned author and spiritual teacher. And I'm on a mission, y'all, to help people connect to and express their divine self so they can make their unique impact on the world. If you've been feeling like there is more to life than the hustle and grind, then you found your tribe. It's time to breathe and relax into the blissful life. Welcome back to The Blissful Life. I am so excited for today's guest, Sylmia Britt. Before we jump in and you get a chance to meet her, let me tell you all about her. Sylmia Britt is an accomplished author, motivational speaker, and advocate with a strong background in the California state government. Having grown up in Sacramento, California, shout out to all my Sac peeps. I went to Sac State. Shout out to all the Sac State alum. Sylmia grew up in Sacramento in a household shaped by military values. Sylmia developed a profound sense of responsibility and a commitment to serving others, which later influenced her career path. With a Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences from CSU Sacramento, fellow alum. Her academic journey provided her with a comprehensive understanding of societal dynamics and fueled her passion for empowering individuals, particularly those facing systemic challenges. Her commitment to making a positive impact on the world is evident in her book, Confidence Unleashed, which we will get into today, where she passionately addresses themes of empowerment, unlocking potential, and breaking free from self-doubt. Sylmia's mission remains clear: to contribute to making the world a better place, one person at a time. Welcome to the Blissful Life, Sylmia.
Thank you, Regina. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't wait to get you on the show. I think within probably 10 minutes of meeting you, not only did I adore you, like off top,
Same.
this lady would be great for the podcast. And what's funny, I hadn't even launched the podcast. Like the first episode wasn't even out yet when I was already scouting people.
Oh, much love to you then. Thank you so much. No, this is um you are electric. And when I first saw you, I was drawn to like a magnet. And I said, is she a safe human? And you were like, yes, I am. And so thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. For those listening or watching, we met at the Black Girl Glow event in Sacramento on February 22nd. So it hasn't been that long, but like you said, there was like an instant connection, and I'm so thankful to count you in the fold,
Yes,
to call you a new friend.
thank you so much.
Okay, well, let's get into it because I I can't wait for people to learn more from your story.
Oh, great.
So we talked about your book, which I have a picture here. Hopefully people can see. So I love the book, by the way. What I think you do, I think what you do really well in the book is give people a blueprint and their spaces to journal. So it's not a book that's only about telling people your story. I think you do a really good job of having people self-reflect.
Great. Thank you. That is incredibly generous coming from someone who wrote "Do You,"
Well,
which is like, I know, and it's a beautiful, and I appreciate being seen by someone like you who is so generous to other humans and really working to ensure that people have what they need. And that is what I wrote that book for. Um, I see myself in so many people and just wanting to be that helping hand to get you to the next place in your life.
Well, you are, and real recognizes real.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Right.
in the opening of your book, you describe corporate as having more drama than a Shakespearean tragedy.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
which I had a good kiki when I saw that line because because having been in corporate for almost 20 years, I definitely know the struggles. But tell me about your corporate journey and how that drama prepared you for the work you do now.
Yes. And it could be Othello, Romeo and Juliet. I've seen a little too many Romeo and Juliets, if you ask me. Um, but you know what? When you're working in corporate America, what you're looking at oftentimes is organizational dysfunction. You're looking at burned out teams. And those are the kind of clinical assessments of corporate America. But if you are a disenfranchised person in one way or the other, what you're looking at is discrimination. You're looking at people having favorites. You're looking at being left out, being seen as less than generically. And for me, uh, I didn't see it as organizational ills and how I needed to maneuver around it. There was a part of me in my younger self who just believed everything that was being shot my way energetically. Like, you need to do a little bit more work. You need to grow more. And the reality was, I was prepared as my peers, if not 10 to 15 times more in many cases.
Right.
And I really just needed to understand how to move around the things that wouldn't like me.
I relate so much to this internalizing. That's what it sounds like you were describing. Because for me, it was the same. I very much internalized that I need to change. I need to do better or be better, despite all the work I was already putting into it.
Yeah,
So that definitely tracks with my experience as well. Um, in your book, you give the advice to create a strengths and identity vision board. And so, what I loved about that concept, it combines two of my favorite things. A vision board.
yeah, yeah.
I love me a vision board.
I
I
love it.
went I went to a vision board party in
I did too.
January.
Anyway, I'm telling you, trying to
This
get
is
it.
see, and it's why we rock. Um, but visioning is so powerful, and taking that out of your mind, putting it into the universe, making it physical is so powerful to manifest. And the strengths piece. And when I was coming up the corporate ranks, I remember when Strengths Finder was introduced into the corporate lexicon.
Yes,
Before that, it was always focusing on your weaknesses or
correct.
your opportunities, the euphemism for,
Mm-hmm.
for weaknesses. But when StrengthsFinder came along, it forced us to start thinking about what are we good at. And I have stuck with that from that point forward. And so I'm curious with you, what is one hidden strength you uncovered during your career that you may have previously, because of the environment, thought was a flaw?
Sure. You know what it is, and it's actually it showed up on my strengths finders because I still have all my, you take all these personality assessments, you got them
Yes.
pasted up
Yes.
everywhere, trying to who am I supposed to be today? But one of my strengths finders outcomes was strategic.
Same. That's one of my five.
I knew it. I see it in you. I know the other ones too, and I'm like, I see yours. I think the interesting thing for me is that you're looking at all these problems, and I can see the solution. 9 times out of 10, you tell me a problem, I'm like, I can at least come up with three, four solutions. Give me some more information. I've got another solution, and it's not necessarily the problem solving because I'm not going to actually dig in and do a root cause analysis or anything more deep. I have an intuitive gut feeling that allows me to look at business problems and to assess the impact, the risk, and the resolution of them. I did not know that that was my superpower all along. I was just giving it to these jobs for free, right? Like, and they're looking at me crazy because I'm getting you out of the problem, right? So we might have to create this really exciting solution. It's super strategic, but nobody wants to, really succumb to getting to the end. I think there's a lot of people in corporate America that are okay with problems persisting because problems are jobs.
I
And
was gonna
so
say, there's money in the problem.
that's
There's
right.
money in the problem.
So So when they're looking at your strategic self, they're looking at somebody that threatens the existence. And it took me time to really understand, but why aren't they taking this really great idea? I thought it was, again, I internalized and made it about my intelligence, my capability. So I trained more and got another degree and did this and did that, but they're still not listening to me.
Ooh,
And, you sit in that space for so long that you begin to, it erodes at your ability to perform
yes.
because you're second guessing and questioning. And then I got to a place where I was like, actually, this might just be that they don't get it.
Oh,
And
I love that.
being okay with, oh, maybe they don't get it. Maybe I'm special. And
Mm.
it started small like that. Maybe I'm special. Maybe I'm special. Maybe I do have a special gift to, again, that actualization and moving towards it. But that is a real thing of saying you're gifted, but not being able to live in that gift and truth because you're so afraid to be seen as the thing that you are. And it's just such a wrapped up concept when you get to imposter syndrome.
Okay. If you just said so much there that we are going to unpack a little bit. First of all, I just wanted to give you your flowers, and
So,
if for those who don't know me, you will hopefully through this show get to know me. But I don't say this in any way to be flattering. I say this with the utmost authenticity. I have seen you at work just it's so natural for you. So when I say I've seen you at work, like we were at the Black Girl Glow event, that was not an event for you to coach other businesses, but you were in there coaching. And I remember, I don't know if you remember the young woman who had the business and
uh-huh,
she wanted to expand, but she was kind of figuring out
uh-huh.
how to get her product into locations but um you so brilliantly just pulled you all were off to the side having this conversation, and I could just see you coaching her and asking these really thoughtful questions. And that's when I was like, oh, like not only is she nice and funny as hell, by the way, like if hopefully y'all get to know a little bit more through this conversation. You were so hilarious, and I'm like, she's actually a brilliant strategist.
Oh, that's kind. That's very
So
kind.
yeah, so no, that's real. And so I was super impressed by just quickly how you were able, and you were like, I do, I do consultations, like I help with things. And I was like, that's fantastic. And just for me personally, you have volunteered your time so graciously with this thing that I'm building. This
She's
really
building.
I like that will be revealed soon, but this
Mm-hmm.
special program that I'm building, you just came back to me with like an entire project plan. All the scaffolding that I just haven't had time to put to paper. So
Yes.
I just wanted to, for people listening and watching this, I wanted
Okay.
to just give you your flowers
Oh,
for
that's so sweet.
one. And two, what I loved in your answer, Sylmia, that really resonates with me is this sense that you know that there's something there, but it's almost like you start to think you're crazy
Yes.
because no one else sees it. And or
Mm-hmm.
you are truly made to believe that that's a fault. And in my career, working in mostly male dominated spaces,
Mm-hmm.
mostly white males. Those were my role models in leadership. And
Yes.
so there's this style of being direct and being very assertive, in some places downright aggressive, and how you communicate, how you come into a room. And that just wasn't my natural style.
Mm-hmm.
I am never going to be the first person that like sums it all up or tells people my opinion and tries to force my thoughts on others. It took me having a really lovely coach to tell me that no, it sounds like you're a synthesizer. like you like to listen. You're then
Yeah.
listening, you're kind of pulling it together, hearing what's not really being said, really taking in the room, and then you're able to synthesize quite
Yeah.
succinctly or pinpoint kind of that strategic piece, what the real issue is.
Yes.
And I was always feeling like the way I was made to, or the way I internalized it, was that I am not direct enough. I am not courageous in saying the
Yeah.
thing. Um, so I felt very much like I was letting myself down. Why didn't you just come in there and like say the thing? Or it took me many, many, many years to see the gift in the silence, in the
Hey,
observation.
hey, listen.
So that's why I love my introverts out there. I love when I have introverts on my team because there's power. Don't just think
Oh
they're
yeah.
quiet.
Mm-mm.
They are observing. They are, into it,
Yes.
using their intuition. So there's power in that in a loud world.
Yes. And you know what, Regina, you bring up so many good points. And my experience personally, and I say this to people whenever I start down this road, I'm like, obviously, I'm a Black woman. This is an obvious expression. I work very hard to appear as my identity set.
Yeah.
I'm a Black woman, and I've never not been one. And so, you know, in the workplace, there's all these efforts to make you conform to a model, as you mentioned, a very specific model.
Yes.
And it's even by people of color. It's not even, it's not even, it's a model, right?
Yes.
And so you're
Yes.
looking at people struggling to conform to something that's not built for a human centered, it's not human centered, right?
No.
As a Black woman, my experience has been that when I've been in those situations, I have turned into a caricature of myself.
That caricature is the right word for it.
Okay,
Yes.
turn into
Yes.
a character of myself in order to um, appease myself, because there'd be this, and you and I have discussed this on numerous occasions. I turned into a man. We're gonna go fight. You want to fight me? I'll fight you. You don't think I'm smart enough? I'm not smart enough. You're not smart enough. I embodied all of these male qualities, what I looked like, because there was only one model of operation. And
Yes.
the interesting thing, I don't talk about this in my book, but it's so true about like the whole person thought and how that translated into how I was a mother at that time, how I was a significant other partner at that time, how I was showing up at work made me dilute my identity so much
Mm.
that by the time I was like in my late 20s, I didn't know what I wanted to wear. I didn't know what my hair was supposed to be like. I had never changed my look. If you told me this is what you should do, okay, I'm going to do it, even though, I just was devoid of any ability to really be me. And
Mhm.
the good thing, the faithful thing is that, and we talk about this often too, Regina, is that I feel like God came and blessed me. And he said, your gifts, and this is literally the message that he sent to me. So talking about people not understanding, if you don't understand, I think just the time to switch to the next video.
Ah,
If you lost by now,
right. You're going to really be lost after this.
move to the side so somebody else can get your seat, okay? But God told me, he said, your business is your ministry. And
Mm.
this was this message he sent to me, and it kept coming up in dream form. And I kept walking around like, well, I ain't living right now. I'm not doing this. And who gonna, like, who gonna listen to me? But as you pick up on that conversation that I had with that woman about her business, and the reason that I can't walk away
Mm.
is, how dare I take a gift that I've newly rediscovered and think is amazing and wonderful. And I'm just so glad that I have it. How could I take it and then see a need and not give it? And
Mm.
so for me, this book, my coaching, my business practice, it's all about, same as you, Regina, restoration. And I've spent so much time, and it has been particularly women, and particularly women of color, to say, I see you, I see you, I see me. And I have something that can help get you back on firm footing so that you can just fly. In your case, it's like, I see you. And again, what Regina's working on, what the girls do this one now?
Is that what they're doing?
They
Okay.
be doing, they're like this. I'm like, I don't know
Okay.
what's going on. Okay, but okay. But the reality is like what you're doing right now is the same thing.
Mm,
Looking to
thank you.
be as generous. You're so generous in your speech, so generous in your approach. And I think even in this podcast, the generosity continues and you acknowledge that your spiritual gift is for others to heal, for others. And so as you're becoming aware, even in the short time we've known each other, I see the growth pattern. And it's like, wow, it's because you're ready for what spiritually is due to you. And I'm
Mm.
like, wow, go, Regina, go. And I feel the same way about myself. Go, Sylmia,
Go,
go.
Sylmia,
Go.
go. Go us.
Go us. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I love that. The theme of restoration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so beautifully said, because you're right. When you have a gift and you finally come to recognizing that purpose or that mission or that calling on your life, you have to share it. You have to share it. And especially since we both know what it's like to be, we'll say, under fire. That
Yes,
might sound
yes,
dramatic,
yes,
but let me actually be more precise. Out of alignment, because that's
yes,
really what it is.
absolutely,
That's really what it is.
absolutely.
And so we've both been in that corporate space, and
Yes.
you touched on a theme, kind of getting into your masculine,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that in this work that I'm working on, this next iteration of my business and my work, we're going to talk a lot about that energy. And there's nothing wrong with masculine energy. That is the external doing energy. That is how you get things done. That is the drive. To go out there and make things happen. However, it has to be balanced with the feminine.
Yes,
And that is where the restoration comes in.
yes.
And I too have such a passion for women because it's such a weird space we're in society when
Mm-hmm.
even women feel that pressure to
Mm-hmm.
have to always go, go, go and do. And we're not even bringing the energy of
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
feminine
Oh yeah,
forward in the world, because we, like, all of us are under pressure
yeah.
just to be busy all the time and
Mm-hmm.
distracted and producing.
Yeah.
Everything is about how busy you are, how much you're producing or um, consuming, or whatever the
Yes.
case may be. And there's such a, I found now there's such a beauty in stillness.
Oh.
There's such a beauty in rest and restoration and
Mm-hmm.
getting back into alignment with
Yes.
yourself and coming back out to the world. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you go to do and create, you're coming from a place of wholeness.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so I love that. And I see that in you. And I don't know if you find this right now, Sylvia, in your life, but I'm finding that I am gravitating more to the people who are in that right
Mhm.
frequency, who are in
Yes.
alignment with
Yes.
themselves.
Yes.
And you can feel their energy it is whole. It's not fractured and
Mm-hmm.
all over the place.
Mm-hmm. You know, we look at this world that we're in right now, and it's not like, I think everybody's in this very chaotic emotional state with
Oh,
some of the things
chaos.
that are happening at the
Yes.
national level. And but this has been how we felt for a long time. I talked to a lot of moms and we're working moms, we're trying to make good humans and
Which is,
so hard,
yes, it's
so
so,
hard,
it's gonna say a job in and of itself.
so hard. But the reality is that, we've moved into an outcome based society where it's no longer about how things feel. It's about what you've done. You're absolutely right. I was talking to this man at a convenience store recently. Just chatting with the
Which is
local
so you.
Californians. I know. And he's so proud. He pulls up his phone and he's got all these pictures of honestly a palace that he built for his mother overseas. It's beautiful. It's just gorgeous. And he says to me, but I can't go on vacation. So I work here all the time. And he works all the time, but he can't take a day off. He says, because in your country, in his city, it's your country. I said, you live here too. It's our country. Okay. It's ours. Don't you? This yours too. Um, he said, but in your country, to take a vacation means that you have to work twice as hard before, twice as hard after. And there is a collective feeling of exhaustion. And so when you've come to this place of repair that I'm in, that you're focused on the restoration, you're focused on eliminating that in others. When you look towards people who may not be in alignment, you go, oh, girl, I'm not going back to that. I can't.
I'm not going back to the plantation.
We're not going. And so there becomes a distancing, which is, that is mature to say,
Hello.
you know what? I want to make and this is true in my heart, I want to make the biggest collective impact that I possibly can. I can't do it with you.
Mm, mm.
And to know that there are going to be a set of women that you're going to be, and for me, it's women and a couple of men here and there,
Right.
but it is
Come
true.
on, brethren.
I,
Y'all need the message too, but we
I don't know how to speak to you the same way somebody else might be able to speak
right,
to you,
right,
and that's just the reality of it.
right.
And but it's really saying, if I link my arm with yours and we are standing in front of these forces, will you let go of me or will you stand and hold the line with me? And at this point in my life, I only have people that hold the line,
Mm.
because what we're trying to do collectively is bigger than anybody can really think of. And so the sacrifices is paired in the relationship. The principles of growth it's just all there. And so it's like when you look at those folks that are really still struggling to, women that are struggling to get rid of that toxic, right? It's toxic. It's
It
toxic.
is
It's toxic.
toxic. It is.
It's like, I'm sorry, you will get to a point in your life where you'll see. And I have to allow you that time
Yes.
to experience. I'm not going to go hit you over the head with the truth. You're going to have to find it.
Mm.
And being being very comfortable with the fact that we are facilitators of change. I am not a healer. I don't actually I don't think I could heal anybody. I don't have the emotional capability to do that.
Mm. That
But I
hits
can
home.
facilitate that. I can facilitate it.
That hits home because that is hard. You see the people in your life, friends and or even people on the
Mm-hmm.
street.
Yeah.
You can you can feel that frenetic energy. You
Mm-hmm.
can feel when people are in pain, or at least I can.
Oh, of course. Of
But
course.
when people are in pain or struggling, and you want so much for them to be at peace,
Mm-hmm.
because when you found peace, you want that for everybody.
Like, it's so
And
easy. Like, here. Yeah.
yes. But you're right. I love that. And that's a message for all of us who call ourselves healers or light
Mm-hmm.
workers or coaches or guides or mentors. Um, first of all, we have to make sure that we are healing, always healing
Mm-hmm.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that in that, we have to realize that the work is to be done for everybody else individually. And I have to remind myself of that, is that old saying, you can lead a horse to water. She can't make them drink.
I'm telling
Um,
you, go to
and
a farm. You'll see. You'll be like, let's drink. You'll be like, no, I'm not. I don't want to.
but people have to
Yes.
arrive, and I have to that's something I remind myself often, that we're all each on our spiritual journey, and the teacher arrives when the student is ready. Right. So
Woo!
you have to be ready to
Uh-huh.
receive it. So I have to always, because I'm like, come here, let me heal you. Like I have that that energy of just wanting everyone to be free. But I have to remind myself, like, first of all, you're not
Yeah.
like girls. Don't put all that pressure on yourself. Like, all you can do is share the information, share the paths, the
Correct. Correct.
lessons.
Correct.
That's really the impetus of this podcast, is to share through me and so many other
Mm-hmm.
guests like you, Sylmia, how we found bliss. And then it's up
Mm-hmm.
to whoever is listening or watching to go on that own internal journey to get there themselves.
I wholeheartedly agree. And you have to remind yourself that this is not the Underground Railroad. Okay.
I'm not Harriet Tubman.
We're not. I want to be her too. I want to be her too. Or like a Sojourner Truth or somebody. Somebody
Who's
cool.
on the wall. Y'all may not be able to see it in the background, but Sojourner is over my right shoulder.
Give me somebody good, right? Give me somebody good. And no, I am not. I am not breaking those sets of chains. That's not what my mission is. That is the mission of other people. And I am very acutely aware that my own pathologies around people pleasing.
Yes. Recovering people pleaser, I always say.
They talk about all these AAs and stuff. We can give it the people pleaser
Hello.
recovery group.
We,
I need that.
We can start a chapter.
That's what I'm saying. But it's all of that, and you don't realize that actually what you're setting yourself up to do is to deplete the opportunities down to zero. When you start engaging with someone who is not in a state of readiness, you're going to pour and pour and pour and pour and pour and pour. Shout out to Latifa Abdur with the book Pour.
Yes.
But another author friend of mine. But the reality is, you're not. You're just going to keep dumping into an empty vessel. It's going to come right out the bottom, and your efforts are going to diminish your ability to see yourself. Because again, you're giving somebody something, same as corporate America,
Ooh.
that they didn't ask for. They didn't ask you to do that. They didn't. They asked me to kill myself. You're kidding me. But because there is that pathology of I want you to see me. I want you to love me. I want you to, whatever that behind the scenes, you just won't relinquish the people pleasing. And in my coaching, I talk to a lot of people about dealing with their trauma. And they're like, I'm trying to get a job. And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to build my business up. We're all working from frameworks of experience that have impacted our ability to see ourselves, right? It could have been, I remember the first time I was embarrassed about my intelligence. It was in third grade. And it's crazy. Third grade, a parent came into the class and she was a dental hygienist and she asked a question. I can tell you where I was sitting in the class, okay? She said, is it better that you brush your teeth before you eat a candy bar or after a candy bar? And I said, hunk, 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 hunk. Before. What are you talking about, lady? And I shot my hand up. Before. And she must have said, "Nah, you not a dental hygienist." That's what I heard. That's what I heard in my little kid head.
I know she did. Where's she at? Where's she at?
In my little kid head, that was the first time that cognitive distortion was introduced around my intelligence.
Yeah.
And it only built from there. And so when you're talking to people in coaching who have very complex lives and, oh, they come from this country or they grew up here and they had this event, let's just let me get you in therapy. And if we're gonna briefly talk about this, how it crosses over, but let's get you in some therapy. And I say all that because as we're pouring into people, we do have to repair and restore ourselves. We do have to say when it's enough. We do have to, if we're trying to make as much impact as we can, then some people have to stay where they are. And you said something to me that I was just like, I was like, yeah. And you said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it written right here, but it was somewhere around the lines of, it is your mission. You accepted it. This was your mission. You accepted it. So when you've accepted a spiritual mission or an anointing to do these things, you have to be tough enough to do the hard things too, which is cleaning out the things that are still going on, which is telling people honestly, you're not ready. I'm serious. I have that. You're not ready. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to hurt myself. You're not ready. It would be easier for me to get into that space of bravery and courage in my communication and in my analysis, but bravery to tell somebody the truth. And and it's not because I want to. It's because it's for the greater good. It's for their good and my good. We're not wasting time and we're growing.
That's it. Yeah, I love as a coach. So one of the things that when I'm coaching someone, I'm always looking for those underlying thought patterns and behaviors because our subconscious drives
Oh,
90% of what's going on in our day-to-day life. And so I love that you touched on that and you work with your clients on what are those deeper traumas or stories or
yes.
limiting beliefs is another way you hear it talked about. And it just brought up for me one of these long, similar to you, these stories come from childhood, long for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. We all have
Mm-hmm.
stories that have formed in childhood. And as you were describing yours, it made me think back a story that I carried into corporate for the longest time was about needing to, part of it was around defining my own worth and
Mm-hmm.
wanting to be seen. So when you said we do these things to be seen, we're going above and beyond doing things that nobody asked us to do because we want to be seen, we want to be valued, we want to be loved underneath it all.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I was validating myself. I was on top of that, had been told my whole life I have to work twice as hard for half as much. How many Black people are told that? All of us. so, so that script was
Oh yeah.
constantly running. And so I always was accepting the assignment to go above and beyond and do the things and feel like I had to be superwoman and ignore my own needs to try to prove that I was as good as, if not better. And it wasn't until it happened in a meeting with a boss of mine who still wasn't seeing me. And by this time, I was a senior director. So I knew I had the receipts. I
Okay.
knew that I could do the things.
Okay.
And this man saw straight through me, and something in me clicked in that moment. And I said, okay, no more.
Right.
No more.
Right.
Am I going to let someone make me feel, or am I going to internalize that I'm the problem? I need to do more. And it's just so profound. That came like 15 years into I was in my mid 30s.
Yeah.
And so it's so powerful. And if people can take that nugget away that you just said, you may want the job, you may want the relationship, but in order to achieve those things, you have to look at what are the stories and beliefs that you're telling yourself that are keeping you from the things that you really desire.
I wholeheartedly agree. And it's, I think maintaining bliss, right? So staying in that bliss state is ugly first. And
Yes. Oh, yes.
it's just a bunch of ugly, right? Like
Yes. I'm digging up all the,
all
like,
that.
so
Hmm.
yes, yeah.
You
The stuff we
gotta,
don't want to look at.
exactly. And you've gotta repackage it and put a new name on it. And honestly, from a faith perspective, this is how easy it goes, right? They go, okay, but I got this and I got this. I said, turn it into your testimony.
Mm,
But
that's
that's all
it.
it is. That's all
That
you got to
is.
do.
That
You just
is.
have to take whatever that experience was, and now it's your victory, right? Like, oh no, listen, mm, I, my mother, my father,
Just like that. You got to say it with the.
you gotta, you've got to get in there and say, excuse me, you don't understand how I came to be. And I think that's the thing that is really interesting to people with imposter syndrome is because the comparison is never equal.
Mm.
I would often compare myself, and this is so true. I would compare myself to white male counterparts.
Yes.
That was my litmus test.
Yes, because
If
that's who's around.
and
Yes.
and who was promoting relatively quickly, and
Yeah.
okay, great. So I see you guys, all right, and it's just like a goalpost, right? So we all set goalposts, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm smarter than them. I think. I think. I'm gonna work on time-ish. I don't understand. And I think it just takes you time to realize I'm not them. Like I come with different experiences. To get my BA, I had to work full time. I had to
That
leave
part.
work, go to school, go back to school, get home at 9. Like all these things like, oh, I didn't have any help, or oh, actually we grew up really poor. You know, I listen to a lot of women, they talk about domestic violence, they talk about
Mm.
sexual assault.
Yes.
and I see them still being strong and see them helping people and changing their community and just transforming, right?
Mhm.
And it's like that where it's like something so painful, but you can get it to be your testimony.
Mhm.
So my personal testimony is I was in a domestic violence relationship and I thought I was gonna lose my life. And now, hold on now. And now I help women who are in the same situation and I show them and I am a full blown physical manifestation of everything that will happen in their lives.
Mm.
And it's like the best thing ever. It's so
Is
great. It's so amazing. I feel so like, wow, God, you thought so much of me that you would give me that experience so that I could turn it into this experience.
mm.
Wow.
To come through it. That's
Yes.
so beautiful because we don't often think of it like that. We don't often think of it that your greatest pain can be your biggest testimony, is your biggest triumph. And
Yes.
so for you to be able to come through that and now you are a representation, you are a physical manifestation
Yes.
that there's life on the other side.
Yes.
And just the joy, Sylmia, you just
Yes.
have a joy and lightness about you that you would never think that you've been through the things that you've been through.
But that's how you get to the blissful stage. You get through the things.
You get through the things. You can't go around the thing. You can't go under the thing.
Uh-uh.
You can't run from the thing.
No.
You got to go through the thing.
And I think that that is, when people are coming to coaching, when I went to coaching, wonderful coach, Yanira Guzman, wonderful, beautiful Latina woman, beautiful. And I'm thinking, all she gonna do is redo my resume. And
Right, Jack.
it was the very first call. Within the first 20 minutes, I was bawling my eyes out.
Mm,
But I was in a place where I was ready to surrender.
mm,
And I think that's the beauty of having great coaches out here that are competent, culturally competent coaches. We're not trained mental health professionals, but we're ready to work with you. We're ready to help you through a trauma informed process to get you where you need to be. And if you're willing to lean in with a coach like that, like yourself, Regina, you're like, life is good. Life is really
Yes,
good
life is fantastic.
because
So,
you're
so
the type
blessed.
of coach that every strategy, every course, whatever the case may be, it's looking to make sure that they're able to live another year on this world in a better state. It is. It's so future forward thinking, and I think that that is what I look forward to is knowing that part of my success, like my actual on paper success, like okay, I made $1 and this
Right.
person got help,
Yes.
is that I know that now she's got a better retirement. Now, you know, actually she's got work life balance, so she's going to her kids' stuff now. I see like the ripple effects that, hey, this person may not remember me, but I changed their life. And
Mm. In that, like
that
that in of itself
it's good. It's
is
good stuff.
rewarding because the trickle effect. You said you've changed that person's kids' lives, and like
Yep.
there's a whole ripple effect that when we can help touch each other and um, be be this collective strength. I
Yes.
love how you said get together and link arms
Yes.
because yeah, there's that collect. We need each other now more than ever.
Yes. And the solidarity, right? Of this is a little alliteration. I apologize. But the solidarity and synergy as well. So,
Mm.
like you said, having
Come on.
someone, right? Just, but having the like-minded. So it's like, I have women that are my best friends are all over the spectrum in terms of race and political affiliation, just
All the things, yeah.
all the things, right? Like she cooks, she don't cook. She does her hair, she doesn't. I don't know what's going on. They're just human beings, but we're locked in. And I think, when you're looking at that locked in approach, you're like, you need someone to ensure that you have that accountability partner. That's part of what I've been working on is accountability coaching. Yes,
Yes. That
but
another one of my favorite words.
I know, because you need it. I mean, we all need it. You know, we're relying on calendars to be our accountability coach. No, you need someone to help encourage you, support you, help you get that last piece. Um,
Yes.
and and the other thing that I've recently launched is Blessed and Bonded, which is I know I'm excited about
I
this.
love just the
It's
name, Blessed and
and
Bonded.
Bonded, yes.
Love it.
But series of events for women to come together, women of faith in Christ, and they're able to get together and really do like fun stuff. The hard part about being in this world at this point in time and this country, you want to have fun, but you don't want to get killed. You want to you want to have a good time, but you're really not trying to be that kind of wild. And so like it's really about finding more space for us to be wild, like just free. I want to be,
Yes.
when you're a little girl and you're just running and playing and laughing and picking flowers and I
Yes.
I want to have that with sisters, and so Blessed and Bonded is a really great way for us to just be silly and wild and fun and really protected and covered because it's like the spiritual girlies need some wildness too. I'm just saying we need.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Freedom is our nature. That was
it
something
is.
that dropped in when I
Mm,
was meditating one day. Freedom
I
is
love
our
that.
nature.
I love
And
that.
I think that's a beautiful, beautiful sentiment for us to remember that our spirits are free.
Yes,
It's just when we
yes.
come into this body, we get, into bondage in so many different
Hmm.
ways.
Hmm.
Um, but okay, so you touched on the um, the little girl in you wanting
Yes.
to be free spirited, and so that makes me wonder, what was little Sylmia like?
If you looked at my little one and you spent an hour with her, you'd be like, "Oh no, that's what you were like." And she's so much like me. Goodness gracious, little Sylmia was. I'm joyful now, but it's an intentional joyful. Little Sylmia was absolutely joyful by default. Woke up happy. Um, we used to wake up and go listen to the birds. Um, very, I wanted everyone to be safe and loved and for people to be kind. And so if I saw people bullying, I mean, I almost got in a fight with this boy in sixth grade because I was like, why are you being mean to people? I don't like that sort of thing. I don't. But I think the most important thing, little Sylvia thought she was something. She thought she was something. She knew she was something.
Because you are.
I was like, wow, girl. And it's just all that in between. It's all the in between where people tell you, and especially in the Black culture, girl, be quiet. You in grown folk business. Girl, beat your butt
Oh,
still. You need
goodness.
to be
Yes.
still.
Yes.
I was like, I can
Sit
only
down.
lead.
Sit down. Yeah.
You're like, no, it's
Hmm.
all that stuff. The interesting thing as well is when I was a kid, I didn't eat a lot. I was always like picking at my food. I'd never eat a lot, and I'd have to sit at the table for extended periods of time to eat my food. And the crazy thing is now I'm an obese woman, and I said, why y'all do that to
Stop
me?
it. Okay, we're gonna rebuke that. You are not obese. Knock it off. Stop it. You just might, enjoy, a
A
little
taco or
savory, a little
two.
treat,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, no. It's all that stuff and embracing it all the lessons, going back through and embracing them, understanding them, and then
Hilarious.
being willing to reject what's not real anymore.
Okay, so I loved hearing about what little Sylmia is like.
Yes, yes. Good time.
'Cause I see so much of that joy still in you, still present. So, I love it. So, in addition to seeing the joy in
Yes.
you, I also see such a confidence and such a strong presence. What advice would you give for other people, particularly other women, on how they can step into their confidence and claim their seat at the table or make their own table for
Oh,
that matter?
yes, yes, yes. Um,
I appreciate that because it hasn't always been this way. And when I interact with people, they often
Sorry, my dog decided that he wants a seat at the table too.
come on, puppers.
So, so I may just leave this in so y'all can see what I'm dealing with on a daily basis. Trying to run a podcast with a noisy
Right,
dog.
right. No, cute little puppers. You know, it hasn't always been this way, and it's been a journey. For me, what I started off with was because my confidence was so shattered. I mean, it was just non-existence. I couldn't find one thing that I liked about myself. I mean, personality-wise, physically, otherwise, and again, I talked about having a blank identity. It was
Yes.
just I had nowhere to start. And so someone told me just find one thing that you like about yourself. And I was like, what? And I tell people about therapy all the time because I've done it. So I was in group therapy at the time, and I was just so tired and sick of being confused in my head. Like, what is all this confusion? And I was in group therapy, and I'm telling all my stories and all my business to these strangers. Okay. And this woman, I was talking about how I couldn't find anything good about myself. She said, "You're one of the most warm people I've ever met in my entire life. People walk up to you and they feel like they're at home." And I was like, "Yeah, that's true." And I started there. So, and I would just talk about, well, at least I'm a warm person. I mean, that for that year, I probably was telling everybody I was warm. They didn't know what I was talking about. But we know you're not dead. Like, what are you?
We know you have a pulse.
Got it. And then it blossomed from there. But I think when you're really struggling, you have to first identify what is good and what you can hold on to, and that it is an undeniable truth. What can you hold as an undeniable truth about yourself? And through that, you will be able to find other undeniable truths, because you've been doing nothing but lying. You've been lying to yourself, you've been lying to others. And imposter syndrome and a lack of confidence, at the root of it and all mixed in between of it, is a lot of dishonesty.
Yeah.
And it's dishonesty to yourself as well. And so it's taking that time to really forgive yourself for being dishonest, because that's real. You cheated yourself out of something. You cheated
Yes.
your former self out of the opportunity to be great. And so it's just a lot of forgiveness too, of forgiving yourself for not knowing, forgiving yourself for um, really being in a place where you needed additional help to grow. And so it's just setting the stage for something to be built on. You cannot go grow a whole field and a whole crop that you want to harvest in concrete. You've got to ready
Mm.
yourself and allow yourself to plant one seed at a time, not looking for the whole crop to come to harvest at once. And the amount of patience that you have to just hold on to one thing and just nurture it and keep watering it. And that's how you build your confidence, is find that one thing that, oh, it feels good to you, it feels representative, and then just continuing to water, grow, put it out in the sun, move it away from the sun. Okay. Just because you're warm and that's your one good thing, don't oversaturate people with that one good thing. You've got lots of good things about you. And that is my true advice.
Such beautiful advice. And thank you for your vulnerability in that. And just real advice. Like, it's not about just ta-da, like I'm just confident. One,
Hmm.
it really does start small and builds from there, and you water that seed over time.
Yes, yes,
So
yes,
thank you for that.
yes.
Um, one last question for you.
Yeah.
What is bliss to you?
Mm. Bliss is no shame.
Ooh.
I think that's at the center of it, because everything that we're doing has a capacity to bring us joy, just in simply being, walking, talking. It's all things that we should be just overjoyed to be able to exist in. And throughout the day, things will happen that will mentally call you to question whether what you're doing is good, wrong, or indifferent. And for me, is Bliss is making mistakes without shame, is living life with good intentions without worry that, the outcomes won't be what they are. And it's just a freedom. And you and I have talked about freedom. And it is. I feel free. I feel free. You could put me in jail tomorrow, and I'd be like, okay, because the location is not what bothers me. And I'm not saying that you can put me in jail. I've done nothing.
Don't come for her.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. Don't come over here. But nonetheless, it's the reality of no matter what happens to me, I will never surrender again to my lesser self. I will stay here in this heightened, elevated space, and things will happen, and I will allow them to happen, but they're not part of who I am. And so just being comfortable with being new, being restored. You are not that person anymore. You're never going to be her again. That's blissful. Like, I'm never going to be her again.
Oh my gosh. Of course, all kinds of fun things are happening in this broadcast.
It's real life, Regina.
It's
And
real.
you know what? The veil of perfection is it's exhausting and useless
And constricting.
It
And
is.
So yeah.
You are literally the epitome of perfection as it is. We cannot saturate the market, okay? Not all. Okay. You're too perfect. It's gonna break our brains.
That's cute. You're funny. But I receive the love.
Thank you. Take that in. That's right.
I love it. Wow. What powerful words. Thank you for sharing your definition of bliss and for sharing all of you with me and all the people who will listen and watch this.
Yes.
And I know, friend, because you dropped so many gems, so many jewels in this episode, I know people are going to want to stay connected with you. So how can they connect? How can they find you? How can they follow your work?
Thank you. Number one, pick up a copy of Confidence Unleashed. You know what I mean? If you're not into actual physical books, if we've got a digital copy for a lot less, $4.99, there is no reason not to start. Number two, please go to We Thrive Above on all the platforms, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well, Sylmia Britt. And lastly, my website is a gem. Many people don't know this about my website, but it has a AI chatbot in it. And so if you subscribe to, I built it myself, which is crazy. We're going to have to talk after this. It's so crazy, the stuff that you can do when you're free. Well, you're free, you could do so many things. But if you subscribe for free at www.wethriveabove.com, you have access to articles, tools, templates, as well as it's called the Empowerment Mentor. So it's basically, it replaces me. So if you've got a work question, even a life question, ask it, and it will talk to you like I would talk to you and tell you the truth.
Ooh, what a gem. Okay, I'm excited. I need to We Thrive Above. I know the website. I didn't know there was a chat.
Yes.
So I love it. So I hope y'all will run, not walk, to Sylmia's website, We Thrive Above, and stay connected with this beautiful, beautiful soul. Thank you for everything, friend.
Thank you so much, Regina, and many blessings to the blissful life and everything that you're doing. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.